Welcome back to First Look Asia. Dub monks, hole cuts, loafers, and brogues. What are we talking about, Yvonne?
Shoes, of course.
Good.
Now, this morning we're talking about very nice dress shoes on Coffee with the Boss.
Aldo Lipari wants to dress you up in the sharpest looking Italian-made shoes, and he won't compromise on quality, style, and comfort.
Aldo worked with some of the biggest designer brands, but about 3 years ago, he decided he wanted his own label. And guess what? He's winning people over one soul at a time.
Aldo Lipari was born in Somalia and lived in the East African country until his late teens. His family then relocated to Italy. As a young man, he spent 5 years in the Ingasori Marina, the Italian Navy's elite commando unit. After a stint with the Ingasori, he left for England. He started as a stockroom boy with Benetton. His perseverance saw him rise through the ranks. He went on to hold senior retail director positions with top fashion brands like Giorgio Armani and Gucci. In 2009, he was made Southeast Asia and Oceania CEO of the Swiss luxury brand Bali. After 6 years of running operations from Singapore, he decided to strike it out on his own. That's when he started A Lot, a 100% Italian-made quality men's footwear label. A lot to talk about with our special guest this morning on Coffee with the Boss. Aldo Lipari, it's a pleasure having you on Coffee with the Boss. Now, I know you've been running A Lot for about 3 years now. You've got some beautiful shoe selections here. But I'm interested in your past, when you were with the Ingasori Marina. Can you tell us about that, please?
Well, Ingasori Marina has been, I've been in 5 years, which has been 8 years in the Navy, in the Italian Navy, and 5 years in the Ingasori Marina, which are the elite forces, which were built during the Second World War, and they've been had a great success in fighting against what that time they were enemy with the British, and they been great success in Alexandria, in Egypt, in Gibraltar, and in Malta. Their mission was secret missions. They were going under the ships, putting huge quantity of bombs and then blowing up the ships. So they've been great success, and they were really the nightmare of the British Navy. So that's when, then after the Second World War has been readapted into the new reality of the world that changed. And that's how I joined them. And I spent 5 the most exciting years of my life with them. Yeah, it's been very difficult and very selective.
Well, tell us some of the things that have stayed with you when you were with the Ingasori Marina.
Well, they taught me a lot. You know, I took most of the things back into my normal life after I left the Navy. But the main things that I learned was the perseverance, decision making, and the responsibility. You need to be quick in taking the decision, because that's what they teach you, and the responsibility, because when you take actions, you need to take a responsibility. And when you are there, also in the regular life that we have, you need to take a responsibility. So that's how I grow up. When you left the Ingasori, you moved to London. And you ended up with Benetton, but you started at the lowest level as a stockroom boy. I started to work on the stockroom, and I worked all my way up to the CEO level. But you know, after 1 year that I was with the Benetton, I was really a store manager. I had skills in moving pretty fast, and after that I moved back to Italy. And I worked and went to the fashion industry. In the fashion industry, I started to work for Armani for 6 years. And after that, with the Gucci, then Bali was my last work in the luxury industry. Yeah, but it took me like 30 years. In 30 years, you went to some of the top European design brands in the world. You know, you mentioned Benetton, you've got Giorgio Armani, you've got Gucci, Bali. What made you decide then to totally switch and start your own business? Well, in fact, after 30 years, you know, that I worked in a managed company, and I went through all the category products and so on, you know, from the accessory, the ready-to-wear, and the shoes. You know, I knew all the inside out of the fashion industry and the retail. Then it was really easy to move out, you know, and you reach a certain level at the executive life that you need to decide either to make the big jump or continue to work in the industry. And that's what the decision I took.
Why did you decide on shoes? I know Bali was your last appointment as CEO. Did you fall in love with shoes? Did you say, this is the future for me?
Well, to be honest, within all the categories that I was managing, the shoes were the one I liked most in the last 11 years I was on. I was managing other product categories, but the shoes, the men's shoes, the one that I really felt and I liked it. And that's why I decided to create my own brand a lot and move into the shoes. My background, it's from the ready-to-wear too. I did all the classic wear, ready-to-wear, and made-to-order and made-to-measure. So I'm a bit complete at 360 degrees, I would say.
I know you're a firm believer in QSC, which is quality, style, comfort.
Correct.
Why did you say these three things are the most important when it comes to whatever you do?
Well, any kind of a product that you have, you need to have a quality, first of all, to make the product, okay? Then after that, you need to have a style. Then those two combined needs to make the comfort, needs to give a comfort to wear. And I don't believe in people who says you need to suffer for fashion. Actually, the more you are comfortable, the more you enjoy. So all these three combined elements are what determine great products. That's my view.
What are some of the toughest or hardest lessons you've learned?
In my previous life, in the executive experience that I had, is the taking responsibility and being humble and put your heads down and just work. People think in a fashion is excitement. It is excitement, but it's really work. Like any other work, and you need to put a passion. When you have a passion, you don't work. You really enjoy what you do, and that's what I like to do. The main important thing is that when you move out as your entrepreneurial life, you start your own, the main difficult thing is to be, reconnected and gain the trust of the people compared to what you were doing before.
After working for 30 years, you would have gotten a lot of great advice along the way. What's the best advice you ever received from a friend, a colleague, or a boss?
Actually, it was my instructor and mentor when I was in Custodia Marina was when you are in a doubt, stop. So when you're in a doubt in your life, you need to stop and rethink. And the other things I follow is my gut. I only follow what is my gut says. Those are the main two important things that I follow.
Is it tough being in the industry you're in right now?
There is not just now. There are cycles in the industry. It's not difficult. Actually, for me, it's the best time to get into the industry at this moment because what I've created is a new brand which reflects in the highest standards in terms of quality, style, and comfort. It's not second to anyone. But I have a different strategy in terms of pricing and more approachable, and it reflects to every single market that I deliver the product. It's not just one dictated by European side or Western country and so on, but it reflects actually is more true to the region where I live. So being in Asia or in Europe, the products reflect to every local people and their needs.
Why did you decide on Singapore being your base for a lot of your business?
Well, Singapore is the country that I lived in the last 8 years, since 2010. And to be honest, Singapore I consider as an allied country. It's a country that is made by three main different ethnics. It's multi-ethnics, it's multicultural. That I come from. My background is from, my father was Italian and my mother was from Somalia. So Singapore is business friendly. It's a great place to be in well-spoken English. It's like being in Europe, honestly. But it is an advanced country. I consider Singapore to be the base for anyone who wants to be in Asia. And to be honest, it's the best time to be within the economy. The whole economy is the Asian economy. I consider Singapore can be a capital.
Aldo, it's been a pleasure talking to you on Coffee with the Boss. Enjoy your coffee.
Thank you. Thank you.
And all the best for the business.
Thank you.
Sir.
Thank you. Ciao.